What if I told you that booking travel and getting commissions on trips is not the only way to make money as a travel agent? There are so many ways to make money as a travel agent in today's world, and many of them actually don't involve planning trips, booking travel, or even selling travel at all, which is kind of a wild thought. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about 7 ways that you can make money as a travel agent, in addition to what we typically do, which is booking commissionable trips for people. So let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany. I'm the founder of Travel Agent Haven. I've been a travel agent myself since 2020. Since then, I've helped a team of travel agents sell over $7 million of travel and counting. And that's actually not the thing I'm most proud of, although that's pretty cool, I guess. I am most proud of the fact that I've been able to help teachers leave the classroom when they have a full-time job. I've been able to help people cut back on their hours at work because of what they're making as a travel agent. And the fact that I've been able to see travel agents just have the most amazing opportunities, especially when they're current or former teachers, because that obviously speaks to my own experience as a former teacher myself. That is probably what I'm proudest of. And the reason I share that at the beginning of every video is because I want you to know that no matter where you are in this journey, whether you're thinking about becoming a travel agent, maybe you've recently become one yourself, or maybe you were inactive for a while and you're just now getting back into it, no matter what the case is, there is always an opportunity for you. There's always a chance for you to make really good money doing this. And it doesn't have to look like it does for everybody else. In fact, even just in the world of booking trips and planning trips and getting commissionable sales for people, like even that can look so different from one agent to the next. And there are so many other ways to make money. So in this video, I'm sharing 7, technically 8 ways that you can make money as a travel agent. So first, of course, the most popular way is the traditional way of selling commissionable travel. And because you might still be new to the travel world, I want to make sure you understand what that means before we get into the rest of the ways. So the traditional way of making money as a travel agent is you sell a trip, quote unquote. I don't really believe we sell travel in the way that people sell other things, but in the sense that someone books their trip with us and then we earn a portion of the sale. It's very similar to real estate agents. Someone's looking to buy a house, they connect with a real estate agent. The real estate agent looks for different houses on the market that meet their needs, very similar to us and how we do for trips, and then we earn a portion of that sale. Now the commissions vary a lot depending on the specific agreement between your host travel agency, which is the agency you're working with, and the vendor, supplier, travel company that then contracts with the agency. So commissions can be anywhere from as low as 5% to upwards of 20 to 25%. 25 is really high. And then out of that total commissionable part of the sale, you get to keep a certain part of it, but you split that with your host travel agency. Now, quick caveat here, if you have your own travel agency, if you're a franchise, then this looks a little bit different, but for the majority of you, you're going to be working with a host travel agency, and that means you're going to have some kind of commission split situation. So you have a commissionable amount, the agency keeps part of that, you keep part of that. That's called your commission split. Typical commission split is 70 to 80% of that total commissionable amount goes to the agent, the rest of that commissionable amount goes to the agency, and then the rest is take-home pay for you. And your commission split is your cut. And out of that, that is your actual take-home pay, that's your income, etc. So there's your revenue, your total sales, that's how much you make as a travel agent, but that's not necessarily the amount you keep, right? That's how much people paid in travel with you. But then your commissions is what you actually earn. So make sure you're paying attention when people are selling things, when people are talking about what they do in the travel world. Our team, for example, we've made over $7 million in commissions, and I should actually make sure that I'm even more careful about that because sometimes I accidentally say sales or that we sold, but really what I mean is commissions we've earned. So really, really important for you to know that distinction, and especially for yourself when you're doing your own math, because you always want to work backwards and think, how much do I actually want to earn and all that. By the way, I have an awesome tool for this. It's really affordable. It's under $10. You can find it in the link below in my Etsy shop, or if you end up joining the mentorship, you get everything I make for free. So shameless plug there, and you can find more information about that in the description as well. So that's a traditional way of making money as a travel agent, but I said at the beginning that there are so many other ways, and there are. So let's get into those now. This is where I get really excited. So I usually tell people to start with the traditional way for a few reasons. One, because some of these methods require that you have an audience, which means you have people following following you. This could mean subscribers on a YouTube channel. This could mean subscribers on an email list. This could mean followers on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or some other kind of platform. Or it means that you have good reach, which means whether or not you have followers, you have people who are seeing the posts you make on social media, but it can really be any platform here. Same thing if you have a podcast and you have many downloads, right? There's reach and there's followers. And I know we're getting into social media marketing a little bit here, but I just want to make sure you understand that distinction, because depending on the way that you want to focus on, one of those is going to be very important. Now, the reason I usually tell people to start with a traditional way of making money as a travel agent is because you don't need followers or reach to get started. You just need to be able to talk to people, to help people solve their problems, and know a little bit about travel and be willing to learn more. And I'm sure that anybody watching this video, if you're going to the lengths of trying to figure out if this whole travel agent world is going to work for you, then you know at least a little something about travel. And you don't even have to be an expert, quote unquote. Being an enthusiast is fine. And in fact, if you've been to a country that someone else hasn't, you know more than them by default just by going there once, right? You've gone through the process of booking the flight, of getting over there, of planning the trip, so don't overthink this. The second way that you can make money as a travel agent that's very much related to the traditional way of planning trips, booking them, and earning the commissions from that is through itinerary planning. And the beautiful genius part of this is you're already doing a lot of this in the actual booking of the trip, right? Like an itinerary is just a schedule with details of where the person's going to be and when. You're likely going to do at least a light version of that when you're putting together a quote, a proposal, or whatever for your client as their travel agent. So what this does is if you charge for itinerary planning, then you get to collect some kind of fee at the beginning, and that goes towards your total income. And then the best part of this is if you also are their travel agent, you're going to book everything for them anyways, and then you get to collect the commissions on the back end. So it's like you get paid twice, which is amazing. But there are other ways to do this too. So that's why I have this more generally like service fees. You could charge a flight research fee. For me, I don't really book flights. I have another video where I talk more about that if you're interested about why, but I'm definitely willing to help people find a great flight. And if you think about it, someone could pay me whatever amount. I'm not going to say the amount because it changes depending on when someone finds me, but let's just say they pay me $100 to find them a great flight. You might hear that amount and think, wow, that's a lot of money. But remember, you are a traveler. You are probably on these tools, Google Flights, Kayak, Momondo all the time. You can take for granted the amount of time and ease that you spend or that you have in these tools. Many people struggle with this stuff, right? They don't understand it. It takes them a long time. They don't know the airport codes. It's incredible and scary how many airport codes I know from memory just from seeing them all the time. Like I didn't really consciously learn that. Don't take that stuff for granted, okay? So someone pays $100, but let's think about that. Say they paid me $100 to do the search and then I save them over $1,000. Who wouldn't take that? If I could go to a slot machine and put in $100 and get $1,000 back, I'd be there all day, right? It's the same thing. You just need to be able to prove the value of whatever you're offering, whether that's your services as a travel agent, any other services you offer, any products you create, etc. It's all about showing what the ROI, return on investment, is going to be. Sometimes that's money they're going to make, but in this case, usually not when you're talking to travelers. So in that case, it's going to be how much money they're going to save, how much time they're going to save, how much better or how much more convenient it's going to be. Are they going to get more if they do something this way? So you learn over time how to communicate these things, and that's just really marketing. But if you think about the whole journey you take with your client, you could probably break that down into a few different fees. Now, I wouldn't recommend this at the beginning. I usually tell newbie agents to have at least 5 to 10 bookings under your belt to have that experience before you start to go charge fees, because it's another set of skills and things you have to figure out and work around. If you already have that experience, or if you're willing to just go for it, I would always recommend start with a very low amount at the beginning. So like say $25, $50 a person. And then as you get more reviews, testimonials, you get experience, then you can start charging a little more every time, right? So say you start $20 a person and then you book one, get a review, raise your rate to 25, then 30, then 50, and so on. And that's just an example, just to give you an idea. Today, I charge between $250 to $500 per person for itinerary planning. Now, this varies a lot. Are they doing a destination wedding? Are they doing a very simple elopement? Honestly, at this point, a lot of solo travelers and couples, I'm referring them out to my team of travel agents and the mentorship. So I don't book a lot of that anymore. I tend to just focus on my own group trips, but that looks different for everybody. So you have to figure out what that's going to be. But I will say, if you're trying to quit your job fast, replace your income, match your salary, then I would say start with these things first. And that's why I specifically laid these out in this way, because I'm thinking about the journey you're taking as a travel agent. What is going to be the easiest for you to do first, next, third, and then otherwise? Because I know you're also going to be figuring out audience building and marketing and all that. And you might have heard that and go, what? Audience? Don't worry, okay? One thing at a time. So number 1 was bookings as a travel agent. Number 2 was charging fees, and I'm including itinerary planning in that. Number 3 is related to that, and that is affiliate marketing. Now, affiliate marketing is technically what we're doing as travel agents, right? Someone buys something through our link, and then we get a portion of our sale. That's kind of what real estate agents do on a big scale, right? It's what we're doing on a big scale. But the big difference here is while you might actually type all the information in and actually book and pay for the client's stuff on their behalf, always with their cards, not with your own, right? You have their credit card information, you're putting it in on their behalf. Although it's becoming way more common for these vendors and suppliers to send a payment link that we send to our clients, hallelujah for that. But an affiliate link means that you actually embed the link into the document. And this goes really well with itinerary planning, by the way. So say I have a client, they pay $300 for itinerary planning. I put the itinerary together for them, and I'm not booking anything at this point, okay? I'm not arranging the actual travel. I'm just researching and mapping it all out and say, okay, if you want this, you're going to book this. If you want this, you're going to book this. But they're doing all the booking on their end. And there are so many people who they might want to retain the control of actually booking and putting in the payment information themselves, but they want to save the time and the energy and have you actually do all the research, all the comparison, all the price shopping, and then put that into a nice, clean, pretty document for them to go through and just finally book, or maybe pay an assistant to actually do the bookings, right? So people are just different. They like different things. So those links that you put in the documents, I recommend Google Docs for this, are going to be affiliate links. Now, sometimes some suppliers as a travel agent will have a link that you can embed. Viator does this, Viator. So that's great for day tours. And I put my travel agent links in there because I earn more as a travel agent there than I would as an affiliate. Typically, affiliate marketing is for travel bloggers, influencers, content creators, but you can use the same links as a travel agent, okay? And many of these companies actually pay travel agents more. So I always default to the travel agent links if we have them. If not, then I will go get affiliate links. For travel affiliate links, I highly recommend using the platform Travel Payouts, and I'll do another video all about them, but basically it's like this one-stop shop dashboard for all things travel bookings. I really like it. I feel like it's super convenient. Before I was a travel agent, I was a travel blogger. I still am. And it just makes sense that when I'm writing about a certain place or when I'm creating an itinerary about that certain place, I already know where I want for my clients to go, right? So if they're not going to book it with me, because remember, I might do itinerary planning for a client who ends up not having me book their travel, I still want to make money on the back end, right? So even if they end up paying for everything themselves and not having me book it as a travel agent, I still earn a commission because they're going to click on my affiliate coded link. So now my tracking link is in there. They're going to book on their own, but I get the credit for the sale. Now, I don't always make as much as I would make as a travel agent, but even if it is only 5, 7, 8, 10, 13, 15, 20%, that's still commission I wouldn't have had if I wouldn't have used my affiliate link. So I highly recommend go sign up for Travel Payouts. It's totally free. I'll be sure to have that link in the description. Another option that is very popular, and of course, it's one I talked about a lot on this channel if you've been here before, is group trips and retreats. And I'm lumping them together here because there are group trips and retreats that you organize and go on yourself, right? Like you get 8, 10, 12, 15 or more people and you say, okay, we're all going together. Sometimes this is your friends, sometimes it's your clients, followers, or subscribers, or people you have in an audience, or maybe just people out that you have reach if you're a poster getting lots of views. That's definitely an option. But you also have the option of booking them for other people. Maybe you're not going to go on the group trip or the retreat, but you work with an influencer or a content creator who does have the followership, who does have the reach, and then you do some kind of commission split, right? So say you get $200 per person, maybe you make it so that you get some and the creator gets some. And you'll have to figure out what that split is going to be. Do keep in mind that if the agency is going to be paying you, you're also going to be paying tax on that income. You might have other fees related to that. So I would adjust the commission split with that in mind. I also would recommend having a contract of some sort. Of course, I'm not a lawyer, but I have been thinking about bringing a lawyer onto this YouTube channel and onto the Pack Your Passport podcast. If you're not a travel agent yet, or if you've recently become one, that's a good resource for you. I have that playlist here on YouTube, or you can also listen on Spotify. But I thought about bringing a lawyer onto here to talk more about these kinds of things. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below. Maybe that's super boring and not of interest to you, but I know that's definitely something I wish I would have known when I first started. There are so many things we could actually talk to a lawyer about. So let me know if I should bring one on. But group trips and retreats are amazing, and for no other reason than they just help you scale really quickly. If you think about having regular clients, you might have 8, 10, 12 clients where you're having to book everything individually and separately. You're having to communicate with each of them separately. They're traveling at different times. It's a lot, in my opinion, right? So if you get 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 or more people, and they're all going to the same place on the same dates, it becomes much easier to manage because you're having them all go through the same process. They're all getting the same forms, probably sending them a very similar link, if not the same link. It's just so much easier. And what's nice about that is if they have a friend or a partner or a spouse or somebody that they want to travel with or that they always travel with, there you go. You only sell, quote unquote, to one person, and then you might end up getting 2, 3, 4 people booking. It's just so much easier, in my opinion, than booking individual trips. I do have some resources about that. I'll be sure to put them down in the comments. One of my most popular ones is the Group Trip Accelerator, which is a course and a live group coaching program where I actually take people through the process of planning and then hosting their first group trip. There's so much involved in it, right? If you're going to host them yourself, then obviously you have to make sure you have the time and the energy and the resources to do that. If you're booking them for other people, then you want to make sure you're positioning yourself in the place where you can talk to people about offering that service to them. I've also just recently started offering this service to influencers, content creators, and bloggers who want to have group trips for their audience, but they don't want to start their own tour companies and they're not liking the offers that are out there. There are companies you can partner with like Trova Trip, Tour Hero, and others like them that you can definitely partner with them. They're tour companies and you can work with them directly. But what I found is depending on who your audience is, for example, my primary audience as a travel agent is teachers, they often can't afford the trips that these companies have. And sometimes they're just not really what I have in mind. Now, if you want full control, then you might actually decide that you want to be a tour operator. But for many of you, you just want to have the group trip, you want to have the shared experience with your audience and then go from there. So you have to sit there and think about what is going to make the most sense for you. So again, go check out my description of this video if you want to sort through all that and figure out what's going to work best for you. Otherwise, we'd love to see you in the Group Trip Accelerator. You can join us for the next live round and you'll get to meet me and I'll help you plan your group trip. Number 5 is travel-related digital products. And I don't always like saying digital products, to be honest, because that is a whole wide world, which if you haven't gotten into that yet, honestly, it could be a huge distraction from what's already making you money or from what could be helping you make money more easily. So I usually tell people, hey, if you're at the very beginning of your journey, just become a travel agent, maybe combine that with itinerary planning and start getting paid for those things because you don't need to have an audience or advanced digital marketing knowledge in order to do that. But if you do have resources, maybe you've already been a travel agent at a brick and mortar business, maybe you're already a travel blogger or a content creator, and so you actually have many products in the making, you just haven't packaged them or listed them yet, then this might be something to consider. I know for me, I had dozens of itineraries sitting in my Google Drive because I use Google Docs before I realized I could package them up and sell them. So I've been slowly going through the process of all of these documents and turning them into products and itineraries that I can sell to my audience. And that's been everything from Google Sheets to help them plan and budget for their trip to advanced itineraries that you can actually click through, almost an app is what it's going to feel like on their phone. There is so much you can do. We'll definitely have at least one workshop about this soon. If you haven't already, definitely get onto our newsletter list because we always send updates about upcoming trainings. Many of them are free, so if nothing else, you can just come and hang out, learn and create something to sell, and that's my goal, right? It's to help you make more money and travel more. So definitely check that out, or you can come join our free Facebook group called Pack Your Passport because I'll share all these opportunities in there as well. But there's so much you can do here. You can create these products on your website, you can sell them on Etsy. One of the first things I actually did online, because I'm a former teacher, was I actually sold lesson plans and resources for teachers on a site called Teachers Pay Teachers, which is basically like Etsy but for teachers. And in my first month on there, I made over $400. Not saying it's going to be your experience, not saying that's average, but I'm just saying you never know until you try things out. I do recommend starting with a service first because you don't need to have many followers or big reach. But once you have some followers or once you have the basics of digital marketing down, definitely start thinking about some digital products, especially if you already have a website, a YouTube channel, a podcast, or a social media platform that has some reach, some eyeballs on it, then yeah, why not offer them some products? Number 6 is travel consultation or travel coaching calls. I think I actually mentioned this in this video, if not another one where I don't really love the words selling travel. I actually usually put them in quotes. You might have noticed that already. And part of this is because one of the most beautiful things about this industry and about being a travel agent as a side hustle is we don't really have to sell travel. Like when people come to me, they're already looking into going on a trip or they're already interested in travel. It's not like I have to go and convince them to travel. I'm getting them ideally. It's very different, by the way, being a travel agent versus being a content creator or an influencer because we're reaching people at different points in the planning process. So what I always tell my travel agents and future travel agents is you want for people to come to you with the credit card in hand. And what I mean by that is they're ready to book. Now, in your marketing content, in any content you create, it's a little bit different. You're reaching them when they're learning about a place. You might be creating content that answers questions about a certain place. Like, for example, as a travel blogger, I have a website about Ireland. I have blog posts that rank for terms like 1 week itinerary in Ireland, why you should go to Ireland during Samhain, Irish Christmas markets you need to visit. I have all these things that I know people who are already interested in Ireland are searching for. And so when they go and search on Google, ChatGPT, Perplexity, they're going to come across my website, hopefully, if I've done my job. And then they can either contact me about booking their trip in Ireland, they can come on a group trip with us to Ireland, and you might even be hearing this and going, whoa, wait, you talked about teachers. Yeah, I have a Facebook group for teachers too, but I also have multiple touch points where people can buy different things from me. So in the Ireland blog and brand, which by the way, you don't have to do everything I'm doing, okay? Like I'm a crazy person, I'm doing all this stuff, but you can choose one destination, one type of travel, one traveler to focus on and serve, and then everything you make can serve that one person. That is so much easier than doing multiple things. But also remember that I'm also training travel agents, right? So I have all these different projects and experiments so I can share what's working and what's not working with them. So don't feel like you have to do everything I'm doing or even half of what I'm doing. But travel consultations and coaching calls can be really simple. It can be as easy as you set up something on Calendly or TidyCal. I'll have links for both of those in the description as well. But basically these are calendar apps where you click on them, you pay for the time, right? Whatever rate you set, and then they're automatically going to be taken to a calendar where they'll lock in a time. They'll answer questions that you've set up. They'll automatically get reminders. You'll get a notification from the tool that they've booked a time, and then you just get to show up on the Zoom call. Maybe you do a little bit of pre-reading or research first, depending on what it is they're paying for, and then you get to show up and do your thing with them, which I think is just so cool. My friend and client, Sahara Rose DeVore from the Travel Coach Network, she is a travel coach herself. She's also a founder of the Travel Coach Network. She has the Travel Coach certification program, which is all about this, and honestly, not just this, offering travel consultation and coaching calls, but about really digging into your message and your story, building a whole brand around what you're doing in travel. And I've learned so much from her. If you'd like to learn more about the Travel Coach certification program for yourself and really going beyond just being a travel agent and really bringing coaching into what you're doing, it's an amazing way to help people and really see how you can use travel as a tool for transformation. You can learn more information about that in the description, or as always, with anything else, you can send me a DM on Instagram over at Travel Agent Haven. I'll be sure to put the QR code up on the screen. You can always send me a DM, right? Especially if you have a question that you don't want to be seen publicly. Otherwise, you can just drop your questions in the comments. Number 7 is travel UGC, or user generated content. Now, I have some feelings and thoughts on this one, so let me also just be very frank and clear, okay? Anything is possible, which is totally true, right? You could become the next influencer. You could have 1 million followers on Instagram. You could have brands paying you $20,000 to zip you around the world. That's possible. There are people that are doing that. Which is the most likely to happen and which is faster? Being a top-rated, top 1% travel influencer, or making really good money as a travel agent even if you don't have social media. I like for you to start with this one because you are going to build a presence in a brand anyway, which can then lead to opportunities like getting paid and zipped around the world or creating content for brands. But I think one thing that happens is you have people who do really well in, say, UGC, because we're going to talk about that here in a second, and then they make all these courses and memberships and programs about UGC and say, this is the answer. I make $8,000 a month in UGC. You can too. But the amount of people who are actually doing well in that are very slim to none. With being a travel agent, it's so common that actually the path is easier. Whereas UGC, you have to be consistent in creating content. You have to be willing to outwork anyone in a sense. Like most UGC creators are only getting maybe 200 on the high end per video, which maybe that sounds great to you depending on where you're based as well, but it might not be a lot when you actually consider, oh wait, but I actually have to have good lighting, I have to buy the lights, I have to have the time to actually sit down and plan what I'm going to film, I have to use the product and learn how the product works depending on what it is. So you can start to see how travel UGC specifically, because we do have products, right? We have people who could send you suitcases. I've done travel UGC for day tours, and I actually love that because I go on a tour, for example, I might pay for it or I get it for free in exchange for quality content. I spend a lot of time on that. And then sometimes they really appreciate it so much that leads to paid opportunities down the road. And that's definitely a thing that can happen. But just to give you a perspective, I was able to make money as a travel agent within 3 months of starting with hardly any following, whereas only 5 to 6 years into the game of me really learning content creation was I able to make money from UGC. So I just want to put it out there that just because other people are doing it does not mean it's going to be as easy for you. And of course, always look at someone's motives for why they're saying something on the internet, like even mine, right? I try to be transparent here, but I also say, even if you don't work with me, right, go watch the videos for free and learn. But with being a travel agent, it's just so much faster because you have all these other options too. So I'm not saying don't do UGC. For example, the Amazon influencer program is really incredible. Once you have at least 1,000 followers on one of the qualifying platforms, once you have a certain amount of engagement, it can be great. But usually you need to have something first. So even when you hear people say for UGC, you don't need to have followers, yeah, that's true. But they do want to see that you have reach, right? Even if you don't have, say, 5,000 followers, can you guarantee or can you at least show results that you're able to get a video in front of 5, 10, 20,000 people or more? If not, you might not be ready for that yet. And that's okay. Build those skills, definitely practice, but keep in mind that if you haven't already been doing that, if you're not already adept at TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, at creating this kind of content, it's going to be a little bit harder to be able to get a brand to give you money for it. So just something to keep in mind. So number 7/8, it's number 7 if we're talking about alternative ways, number 8 if we're including traditional commissions, and that is being a proper influencer. So I already said this, that there's a difference between being an influencer and UGC, right? So typically UGC creators, you don't need to have a big following, but you do need to be able to create quality content that brands would want to pay for. Sometimes they'll use this content on their own ads, in their own marketing materials, whereas if you're an influencer, it's more so about getting them in front of your audience. And usually with content creators in general, because content creators is an overarching category, that can go into everything. Technically with this YouTube channel, I could call myself a content creator, right? I have a couple of videos that have popped off and gone over 5,000, 10,000. And so I could reach out to brands and say, hey, I have demonstrated ability to be able to get reach, which means just eyeballs, views, right? And for this channel, that would look more like tools for travel agents. I am actually building up a couple of YouTube channels in the travel space, so stay tuned for that. Definitely subscribe if you want to see how that works. Now that I've figured out YouTube on this end, I'm showing you how it can work for that. So stay tuned for that. But then when I have videos like that in the travel space, I could reach out to tour companies and ask them. Same thing for blog posts, right? If you have a website and you're getting 50,000, 100,000 page views per month, then you do have some demonstrated ability to be able to get content in front of people. So you do have to be honest with yourself and ask, do I have a content platform already? Do I have a community? So for example, you might have reach, page views on YouTube, but that doesn't mean that you have an engaged community of people who actually know you, like you, and trust you and are willing to buy from you. Now, many travel agents do have that. Even if they're not considered influencers by social media standards, they do have people who are willing to buy from them and travel with them. So that is something you want to keep in mind, right? Is what is your goal? What are you really selling? And when you're working with brands, also, is working with them going to help you? What are your ultimate goals? Is it going to hinder you from getting clients as a travel agent? Is it going to help you? Is it just going to add? I think it's really important to go in with your vision for this business. And that's also why one of the first things I do when I work with a travel agent, whether they've paid for one-on-one coaching, whether they're coming into the group trip accelerator, or whether they've joined the mentorship and I'm working with them personally in the long term, I sit there with them and don't just talk about money with them, but I actually ask them, what do you want for your life to look like? I will tell you one thing many people don't talk about, and I will because I've done this, is that if you do decide you are going to be a travel influencer, UGC creator, that you want to work with brands, it is nonstop by the ones who are making the most money. And what I mean by that is you are always doing something. You're either pitching to brands, responding to briefs, you have gigs up on Fiverr and Upwork, you are going to conferences and networking, you are actually creating the content to demonstrate that you have the ability to do that, you're creating content to grow your audience, you're joining in collaborations. Now, that might sound super fun to you. You're like, actually, yeah, I love that already. I already play on Instagram. I already have a following there. I do this on TikTok. Then that's awesome. But also consider, do you want to be working while you're traveling? Or do you want very clear lines of, this is when I'm working, this is when I'm not working? Now, I usually do tell people that being a travel agent, the ones who I know and work with, it's typically more of a lifestyle business. Work and play get blurred, but it's especially true if you're going to be a content creator or an influencer, especially because people are being invited into your life and they really feel like they know you. So be thinking about that. What are you comfortable sharing? How close do you want to be? I made this video because I want you to see that being a travel agent is just one hat you wear. There are so many ways that you can make money in the travel industry, and there are so many paths to making travel your full-time income and career if that's what you want for it to be. But also, you can keep this as a side hustle and still make a few hundred or a few thousand a month working just a few hours a month. But you have to sit there and think about and decide, what do you want for your life to look like? Which platforms do you like working on? What do you want to learn? How much time, energy, and effort and money are you willing to put in? Because if you think about those things, it will help you eliminate options and get out of that overwhelm because you'll get more clarity. For example, if you prefer solo travel, like you don't want to be around anyone else when you're traveling, then hosting group trips isn't for you, right? If you want to be able to take vacations and not think about work, then maybe UGC and brand deals isn't going to work for you unless you put 1 to 2 vacations on the calendar every year where you know you're not going to be doing any recording. I know some of these things sound really weird if you haven't been in this world, but hopefully if you've been dabbling or if you've been thinking about different careers in travel, you can see how these all work together. Obviously, I would love to help you get started. I've already mentioned some of those resources, but you can check out everything I have in the description below, and I'd love to hear from you. You can ask any general questions or maybe let me know if there's one of these monetization strategies that you'd like to hear more about. Let me know in the comments. Or if you have a question that you don't want everyone to see, you can always send me a DM on Instagram over at Travel Agent Haven, and I'm happy to talk more about this stuff. Thanks again so much for being here. It's not lost on me that if you've watched this far, that you've watched like 30 minutes, so thank you so much for being here. Again, my name is Brittany. I'm the founder of Travel Agent Haven. I'm a travel agent myself, and I also coach travel agents. If you want to learn more about this stuff, go ahead and hit subscribe. And if you like this video, could you do me a favor and could you hit the like button? I know it seems silly, but it really does help YouTube know that this video was helpful and to push it out. And same thing with comments too. It's helpful for me to hear what would you like to learn more about. Feedback too, right? I've had some people say that I've been talking fast. I've been really trying to work harder on that to speak more slowly and articulately so that you know what I'm saying. Thank you again so much for being here. It's not lost on me that you spent some time with me today. I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you in the next video, or rather you'll see me in the next video.